And so for me, greatness is about discovering those unique gifts and talents inside of you to pursue your dreams, and then making an impact on the people in your communities around you with those pursuits. That's what it's about.
Hi, everybody. This is Carolina Millan. Welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Hustle. And today I'm here with a guest that I had to hustle a lot to get on the podcast. He's the host of the School of Greatness, one of the most amazing podcasts out there, and the author of the upcoming book, The Greatness Mindset. Lewis House. How are you, Lewis?
Good to see you. I'm glad we finally made it happen.
I am so happy to be here with you today. And thank you. I appreciate you. I know how busy you are, especially when your book is launching soon. So this really means a lot to me.
Of
And I
course.
know I know you're going to add so much value right now to all the people who connect with me.
For sure.
So to get started, I always like to ask people just to like really sum up, like very briefly, your background story, just for the few people who don't know you yet. So I'm going to be sharing this podcast with my audience in Latin America. So what is like in a nutshell the Lewis House story? What is your story
Man,
background?
lots of insecurities as a kid, lots of fears and doubts, but also a lot of hopes and dreams that I had. So I went after a sports career because I didn't feel like I was smart enough in school, and I used all my energy towards sports. And then after, I had a successful career in college, and I played professional football for a little bit before I got injured in the United States. Um, After that, I was at a crossroads in my life trying to figure out, what do I want? Who am I? What's my goal of this life? What's the purpose? What's the reason? After my dream was over of playing sports. And after many years, I kind of tried a lot of different things in business to figure out how to make money and just kind of survive and figure out life. But after many years, I asked myself the question again. I said, what do I really want? And I love people. I love connecting with people. I love asking questions. I love surrounding myself with inspiring people. So I said, I'm just going to try to be around more people, interview people, and kind of create this business out of interviewing people, which is what I've been doing now 10 years. My show, The School of Greatness, launched 10 years ago this month.
Yeah.
And it's just been a journey of making lots of mistakes over my life, learning from those mistakes, sharing with my community and audience about what I've learned through the pain and the challenges that I've gone through, and then seeking wisdom from mentors to see how I can improve my life in the different areas, and then hopefully inspire others to do the same as well.
Yeah, you are quite an inspiration to a lot of people. So, congratulations on the 10-year anniversary of the podcast.
Thank you.
That is amazing. What's your advice for somebody starting a podcast today? Like, what do you wish you knew that you know now? And
Mm,
to go like through all the noise, it's not the same starting a
yeah.
podcast now as it was 10 years
Well,
ago.
if you're in Latin America, I think now's the perfect time. If you are creating an English podcast, I think it's very challenging. I would actually tell people advice that I don't think people want to hear, which is not to start a podcast. And I'll say this for a reason, because I think a lot of people start it without a clear vision or goal in mind, and they think it's going to work really quickly, but it takes typically years until you start to see momentum. So do not start a podcast unless you are in it for the long haul, unless you are in it for multiple years, unless you realize you may not make money for many years, and it may take a lot of energy and effort and consistency. So if that excites you, then okay, do it. But if you think it's going to be easy right away, then I would say put your energy somewhere else. But the advice I would give someone now is much different than what I would do 10 years ago. I would say start with video first and build a video podcast, and really find a way to focus on listening to the community that you want to serve online, and finding the platform online where the community is, and really creating micro kind of short form video content around it, and seeing what takes off on the platforms around short form content first.
Mm.
Then when you see a piece of short form content taking off, you can expand upon that into a longer form podcast episode and build your content around what is taking off on short form first and then expand it. That's what I would do.
Interesting. So, and would you recommend people start on their own? Because, you do all these amazing interviews. What do you think?
It all depends on what your goal is. But if you were thinking this is going to be big right away and I'm going to make lots of money, then I don't think you should do one if you have that thought. It doesn't mean you can't do it and it won't be successful. But if you have zero audience, you have to find some angle in order to get distribution and in order to reach an audience. And so if you're going into it because you just love it and you enjoy it, then yes, do a podcast. But you want to be clear on why you're doing it, who you're supporting, and that you're committed to doing it consistently. Because as you know, it takes a lot of energy and consistency. And there's over 2 million podcasts in the world. So you got to figure out who, and people are committed and they're showing up. So you got to make sure that you keep doing the same thing if you do it.
100%. What do you think about live audio? Because some people were saying, when Clubhouse came out and now Twitter Spaces is so big, like that's going to compete with podcasts. Are you using live audio? How do you feel about live audio?
I'm not using it. I did Clubhouse for a little bit, 2 years ago or whatever, but I feel like that's all kind of dead now for me. So
yeah,
I feel like it's a lot of energy and a lot of time without the long tail effect because you're not really recording it. So you've got to be there live. And so you've got to keep creating content, but then that's gone. The beautiful thing about audio and video pre-recorded is that, especially on YouTube, I've put out content 5-7 years ago and people still watch it today.
Yeah.
The audio, same thing. But if you do it live and it's not recorded, then everything you say could be really inspiring or powerful, but then you have to say it over and over again and no one has access to it except for those people live. So if you're a coach or a consultant or a freelancer or something like that, and you're looking for clients, I think it's a great opportunity where you can kind of teach a live audio webinar training. You can do a Q&A on there and you can answer questions and get some clients from it. But in terms of building a bigger scalable thing, I just think it's harder to do.
Yeah, I agree. And, even now, Twitter Spaces and I think Clubhouse, I think you can record it, but people don't really go back and listen to those recordings.
And the audio quality isn't as good. Yeah. So no one's going to listen to it. And it's just not scalable. So I think it's a big distraction, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I think social media is a distraction in general. If you're not using it wisely and if you're spending a lot of time and you're not getting any audience or attention. So you got to figure out a system that works for you to get your message across, because now the social media content is gone after a day or two, wherever you post it. So you want to make sure you have the right system that can support you on your vision, your goals, and promoting back to your podcast in an effective way.
Totally. So your podcast, which I've been following for several years, The School of Greatness, what does the word greatness represent to you? What does it mean to be great? What does greatness mean to you, Luis?
When I was growing up, I really wanted to be successful. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to accomplish my goals in athletics and sports. I wanted to make money when I got into business. I wanted to achieve awards and all that, right? I wanted to be recognized. And I did a lot of those things and I quote unquote achieved success in certain areas, but I never really felt like peace in my heart. I never really felt like I loved myself or that I had peace or that it was enough. And so I kept wanting to achieve more success. And it wasn't until I got into my 30s when I realized that success is about me and greatness is about we. It's about us, and it's about using your goals, your dreams, your accomplishments in the service of other people as well as what you're looking to do. And so for me, greatness is about discovering those unique gifts and talents inside of you to pursue your dreams and then making an impact on the people in your communities around you with those pursuits. That's what it's about now.
I love that it's about we. I like that.
Yeah.
And your newest book, which is coming very soon, The Greatness Mindset. What inspired you to write that book now? Like, why at this point?
this is the book I wish I had when I was 16, 20, 30, and the book I wish I had today.
Mm.
And so everything I do is essentially like to support myself and understanding the problem or the pain in my way and seeing if it can support others with a similar problem or pain. And so this book is really like, I wrote my first book 7 years ago because people in my community were asking me for it. They said, Lewis, we love the School of Greatness. Can you create a book to share kind of the key principles of all the lessons you've learned? And that was what that book was about. From all the different experts, here are the key principles of greatness.
Mm.
And this book is almost like the book I wish I had before that,
Oh.
to really help me how to understand how to overcome self-doubt and any insecurity, how to overcome the three main fears that hold us back from living our most authentic selves: the fear of failure, the fear of success, and the fear of judgment, and how to get to the root cause of where your fear lies within you. And this is the book, again, that I wish I had 10 years ago. I wish I had 2 years ago. And I'm grateful that I have now for me to read. And it's kind of a culmination of my entire life's learnings, 10 years of lessons from the School of Greatness, personal experiences, but also tapping into people of all walks of life who have research and science to back the things that we're talking about. So I'm extremely excited about it.
I love that. So how was the process of writing the book, and what's probably the biggest takeaway you would like people to get when they read it?
I mean, the process is really 10 years of research where I documented all these interviews, and then I like to create things that are easy to understand. I like to take a challenging concept or what seems like a daunting task and simplify it so that I can understand it. I didn't do so well in school, so I needed things to be very easy for me to understand. So that was the process, was saying, does this make sense to someone like myself? Is it simple so that I can understand? And the process took, 10 years of research, but really about a year and a half of writing, editing, and all that stuff. The main thing I want people to get out of this is, no matter where you are in your life right now, no matter what situation you're faced with, challenge, upset, hurt, uncertainty, or insecurity, no matter where you're at in your life right now, there's a way to break beyond that. There's a way to create external abundance and internal peace at the same time. It's not always easy, but there is a process if you're willing to take the step, if you're willing to take the journey, and you're willing to have courage in the process. And I want people to know that they can have so much more internally and externally than what they have now. And the process is in the book.
That's beautiful. What is your favorite chapter of the book?
There's no favorite chapter. I mean, for me, it's just the whole thing is inspiring. There is a section that I think is the most important part for people, which is a section about developing your meaningful mission. And I think a lot of people have goals and dreams and accomplishments that they want to achieve. They have an idea of like, I want to accomplish these things. I want to make more money. I want to have this relationship or whatever it might be. I want to lose weight or something. But the goal and the dream is not enough to feel enough inside unless you learn to have a meaningful mission and get very clear on what that is for your life. And so we talk about the process of developing that. And on top of that, how to heal the past pains, wounds, and things that affect you in life. I'm a big believer that if you are triggered in life too frequently by things that are happening around you, it's pulling you away from being focused on what you really want. And so if we have these triggers in our life, it's just going to be harder to accomplish. It's going to take longer to achieve what we want to achieve. And we're going to be stressed out a lot more. And so the goal is to learn how to heal and integrate these lessons of healing, get clear on a meaningful mission, and then have much more energy and abundance when you're taking action.